Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our returning guest, Stephen Prince. We're here having him back from interview 52 all the way up to 192. We got 140 interviews to catch up on. How have you been, man?
Wow, I didn't realize it. We were just talking backstage about how many interviews you've been doing, but I wasn't on here that long ago, so you've definitely been busy. Wow, that's a lot.
For me, like, the days are just blurring, so it really does feel like it was just yesterday.
Yeah. Wow. No, I'm doing great. I'm ready. I'm ready to be here. Ready to talk Monster Matador. I was just telling Cody, I just got my kids out of the house, so now I'm free for a few hours, and I'm very happy. I'm not stressed at the moment, so
it's that dad energy, dude. Like, you know, for me, I took my kids off to school. I was like, I'm gonna be productive this morning. I sat down in my chair. I was like, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm actually gonna go back to sleep.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm always like, I'm gonna be productive, and I'm like, I can just like kind of nap for a little bit, catch up on some movies, TV. I'm watching Better Call Saul now, so I'm kind of.
Oh man, really I need to get into that. I think I only watched the first two seasons, but I heard it gets really, really good.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I'm starting into season 3, and it's really kind of. So I'm just like, I gotta find time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's get caught up on Monster Matador. So we're here to break down Volume 1, a 180-page collection. This is a monster-sized book. Give us a little bit, before we dive into that though, give us a little bit about who you are and how you got into comics. Just a quick recap. We'll have a video popping up at this point with our last interview if you guys want a little bit of a deeper dive.
Okay, so I mean, I've been making comics probably my whole life, as far back as I can remember. I used to photocopy them for my friends, give them out. But at least in this space, I used to work in the toy industry. I worked in product development, and I developed toy lines for animation and things like that. And then things happened. I got laid off, and I kind of rekindled my love with comics, and I started making comics again. I started writing and drawing them myself. I did this crazy 200-page sci-fi thing called The Third. I don't know how I did it, but somehow drew 200 pages. And I started doing Monster Matador. And right around 2019, before the pandemic, I hooked up with Fabio Alves, who's our artist. He drew a book called Action Lab he drew a book called Banjax from Action Lab. Which he was nominated for a Ringo Award for, and we've been making Monster Matador ever since then, with our colorist Alex Zeff, who is from Mexico City, and she's currently working on the Source Point Press book Rise of Dracula, which is the sequel to Cult of Dracula. So that's where I'm at right now.
I love this too. I actually have issue 1, and man, the protagonist is such a badass. He is a matador through and through, but with kaiju-sized creatures. I thought that was such an interesting spin.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. I mean, it's funny because I'll take the book out to shows and signings, and every time people will read the book and they'll come back and be like, "Oh, it really is about a matador who fights giant kaiju monsters." I'm like, yeah, that's the book. I'm not like lying to you. They're like, no, but he's just there with his cape and sword and he's fighting these monsters. I'm like, yes, that's what it is. He's like, so it's cool. Like it's funny how like the concept is. I think because monster books tend to be a lot of it's like sometimes giant robots or big technology or something. But like what we did here was to just kind of ground it. Because ultimately a matador, right? It's all about precision targeting, right? You've got to hit that spot, and part of the fun is figuring out how this, like, even though he's 6 feet tall, these monsters are like 6 stories tall. So like, how's he going to do it? How's he going to figure out how to hit that sweet spot and take them out? So.
And I mean, it's so evident when you're reading this too. Like when he's fighting, he throws his sword, and it just like is like on the dot. And I love you. You see him jumping these heroic feats like to fight these guys, and not a single care in the world, because that's what he's meant for, right? Matadors are meant to protect and kill in the face of danger.
Yeah, and he's fearless. It's part of the fun is taking just the things that are already there and just like, enhancing it or putting on steroids, if you will. It's just everything is, it's like, like with superhero books, everything is like amplified, but it's still grounded in a reality that you don't, it doesn't quite take you out of it. You can still believe that he's doing it because that's ultimately at the core of what he does, right? So somehow it works. I don't know. I got lucky there.
So give us a little bit of a recap of the first 3 issues, and then there's another special issue too, Afropocalypse. Hey, look, I got it first try. I know that. So that one's been a tongue twister for everybody. So I wish I had a bell to ring or something. But yeah, Tango of the Matadors was our first 3-issue miniseries, and this one kind of introduces the Matador to everybody. And it's let's call it an action-packed thrill ride that's set in Puerto Barrios, Guatemala, and it follows the monstrous Volagante and her children that have terrorized the people of Puerto Barrios for years. And the Monster Matador joins them and takes up the challenge of defeating them. And he fights alongside this ragtag group of locals, and he's joined by a familiar face from his past, another Matador. And I guess will the combined forces be enough to end the terror of the Volagante? So basically, they team up and to fight the Volagante, and there's some twists and turns, and not everyone is who they seem, and there's some really kick-ass action. And one of the cool things about the Volagante is that a lot of times when you're dealing with kaiju, you're just dealing with one monster. But what we did here was that because she's a fly, she's got like thousands and thousands of children. So not only do they have to fight this giant kaiju, but they have to fight all her children too. So it's just it's a free for all. It's pretty fun. I tried to do like the most balls to the wall, action packed thing I could do in 3 issues. Like that was like the goal of it, and I think I succeeded. Because ultimately, like if you're reading a monster book, right, you just want to see people fighting monsters. Yeah.
And there's character arcs, there's all the stuff that you need in the story, but it's all told through action. It's all told like within the action. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to kind of like to put together and write. And the artists, I mean, Fabio and Alex had such a good time drawing it. Fabio loves drawing action. So it really shows. It really comes through in the final product.
You've done some art as well, if I'm not mistaken, for Monster Matador, correct?
Yeah. So prior to this version of Monster Matador, I wrote and drew 12 issues of Monster Matador.
Wow.
So what happened was, I had the idea for this thing, and I thought it would be fun rather than like sitting down and writing out like, my ideas and whatever. It would be fun to kind of do it the way they used to do in comics, where I was reading, I think, the Claremont X-Men run from the beginning, and what you see is like those first 10 or so issues, they're really just kind of figuring everything out and putting all the pieces together. And then once it gets to that point, it just hits the ground running. And that's like the X-Men, the whatever, the Byrne Claremont X-Men that everyone knows. But there's this whole kind of year before where it's like they're like trying out all these different ideas. So I thought I would do that for myself, not necessarily to release. I figured I'd do like 1 or 2. And they're pretty simple because I'm not like a great artist or anything like that. So they're but what happened was we're talking about kids. My wife got pregnant. We had kids, and it was like
they ain't cheap.
Yeah. Well, and then those 2 issues just kind of, I mean, I just had no time, I had no time to really kind of put together a book. So I just kind of kept doing it. And as I was doing it, I started meeting other creators, and people kept encouraging me to do it. And so I just kept doing it just to kind of keep my hand in it. And, one thing leads to another, and I've got like 12 issues of the thing. But it was cool because it's kind of like this one whole story, which at some point we'll get out there and we'll do something with. I want to kind of remaster it.
Okay, so that's awesome that you're going to be bringing it back in.
Yeah, because what happened was for the back half, because because the kids had no time to do anything, so it was we did it straight from pencils. So this version of the Matador it's kind of what you call a soft reboot. It sort of picks up from where it ended, but you don't need to read any of it, but I think what's nice is that it gives the feel that of a much fuller world. You feel like this, like he's been fighting, and you feel like there's this backstory, and you feel like there's a lot more meat, to the bone, if you will. And those stories that I told in the next storyline that we're telling, I don't want to get too far ahead, but we're going to kind of go back. We're going to kind of go back to that and start seeding all the stuff I did that within the next storyline.
That's
and kind
awesome.
of bring it back. So it's not something that you miss. And if you start reading from Tango, you're not even going to know you missed anything. But it's more to the fact that I actually have like 300 pages of Monster Matador that I need to figure out what to do.
Man, you knock out such big projects. The first Monster Matador.
Yeah, I have to stop doing that. Yeah. It's
No, I love this team though too. Like you explained. For me, I kind of got the vibe it was like Expendables with Matadors. You know what I mean? Versus Kaiju.
Yeah.
So how do we see this team head to Africa? Like, what leads to that?
So the Matador is recruited. So part of the thing of Afropocalypse was I wanted to kind of show kind of like the bigger world and sort of the effect that the Monster Matador has had on it. So he gets so he's kind of like he's known around the world, right? Mm-hmm. Like the legend in a sense of the Matador has kind of spread, and there's this guy in Mexico and South America who's fighting kaiju monsters with a sword and a cape and sword, and he's kind of inspired other people to fight these monsters around the world. And in Afropocalypse, he gets recruited to join a team of international kaiju killers. To hunt down and destroy an ancient evil in the heart of the South African rainforest that is unleashing a zombie plague. So it's basically it's the monster. I don't want to give too much away. Kind of infects people with a zombie virus and turns people and animals into a zombie virus. And this one has kind of Expendables vibe. It's definitely a love letter to Predator. It was a lot of fun. We have a bunch of comic creators guest starring.
Oh, that's awesome.
These Ryland Grant, who wrote Banjax, who introduced me to Fabio Alves, is one of the kaiju killers. So Ryland is a screenwriter for his day job, as well as writing comics. But in the Predator movie, Shane Black, who's a screenwriter, was one of the guys on the team, and he was they put him in the movie because they wanted him to rewrite the script on set, and he didn't want to do it, so he got killed off early. So I thought that was kind of like a nice nod to the movie. Mm-hmm. We don't kill Ryland off early.
That's funny.
It's funny because once you start writing the story, originally I was going to kill him off right away, but like you start writing the story and the way I write, like the character relationships come out, and I just had so much fun writing, writing him. And then Dave Schrader and Christian Horn, who created a book called Baby Badass, are this kind of crazy German duo, Hans and Schrader, who sort of have a Hans and Franz vibe. If you remember the old Saturday Night Live sketch of the two weightlifters. Mm-hmm. So the book is a lot of fun. It's definitely got like its own kind of humor, its own quirks to it. But this one was interesting because when I started writing, I had an idea for the monster, and I was writing it as COVID happened and we went into quarantine, and it kind of changed sort of like the book and the monster, like in terms of what they were fighting, and in a sense the challenge here is that they're literally fighting a virus. And how do you kill a virus? How do you fight a virus? How do you fight something that you can't really see or doesn't really take shape? And if you you know? Yeah, and if you do defeat it, how do you know it's dead? So this was kind of a fun book. It kind of like, you know, it's definitely influenced just by the time, but also kind of sets up some other things for it. Yeah.
I love how you twisted that in there as well, though, you know, like the little nod to what you guys were actually going through at the time. I think that was a really an awesome thing to do. So this volume 1, though, doesn't just have these 4 books in it. It has a little bit more than that. Give us a little bit of the juice about those, because the bonus story is an awesome throwback to like the very first page of Monster Matador issue 1. I felt right.
Yeah. So we have a bonus story that is it's exclusive to the collection, and it's basically it sets up our next storyline. It has it follows up directly off of Afropocalypse, and the Matador returns to Mexico to reunite with his daughter, and a new monster arises in Mexico.
Ooh.
So I don't want to spoil it. But,
yeah. So when's the last time she's seen him? Was it issue 1, or has she?
No. So in issue 1, she's kind of she's with her uncle in Mexico, and she's like 10 years old, and she's kind of missing her dad, but she's also kind of like, she's got this fire in her too, and she's slowly having this desire to kind of like get out there and fight monsters like her dad, you know what I mean? Like she wants to be like her dad. So that's where a lot of the tension is going to come in now, because her uncle's like, dude, your dad doesn't want me to do this. He doesn't want me to train you. He wants to keep you safe. And she's like, no, I want to fight so she's like, so when her dad comes back, there's this big blow up, and then this monster hits, and that kind of sets up one of the storylines, which is, you know, like as a parent, right? You're always trying to like protect your kids, right? And you don't really want them with all the crap going on in the world. You really kind of want to just you want them to be kids, right? And that's kind of like, you know, Monster Matador is ultimately, it's about a dad who's trying to make a better world for his daughter. And as a parent, what you realize as your kids get older is you can't really hide them from everything, and you can't really save them from everything, and trying to do that is futile, and they kind of have to find their own way, you know?
Because if they don't experience it, when they do, they're not going to know what to do, right? They're going to be stuck.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the storyline that we're going to be kind of exploring, you know, the backdrop of these giant monsters as they travel across Mexico, fighting them. And we're going to introduce a team of luchador monster fighters, which is really
that's
cool.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we're really gonna build out. We're really good. I mean, there's a lot that's coming up that I'm really excited about. So,
but that's not it, though. You have a study guide as well, right?
What's that?
Yeah, you have a study guide as well.
We have a study guide. So Dr. Teresa Rojas, who is a professor at Modesto College, did a study guide or survival guide, I should say, for a book called Quince. I've known her for a few years now, and we were at Comic-Con, and I ran into her at the bar, and we were just talking for a while, and she suggested doing one for Monster Matador. So basically the study guide, what it is it's like, it gives like a background of like matadors, information, like how they tie into the culture. So it's kind of just like interesting information about like, you know, matadors themselves, just some background on it. And then it like, it poses some like questions and about like, it talks about kind of like the process of the book, the artwork. There were some things she was throwing out. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. She was talking about like Fabio's art, kind of like the geometric shapes he uses with some of the monsters. So I'm kind of interested to see it too,
Oh, that's awesome.
But part of the cool part is that as a teacher, because it has a study guide, it makes it easier for her to order the book for her classrooms.
Ooh.
So it's kind of a cool thing where it's like, oh, okay, now like, you know, it's kind of like Monster Matador is educational. So, you know, if you're reading Monster Matador, you can be like, no, this is an educational book. Like I'm doing this for grad school or something, right?
You can get it into schools technically, right? Like, is that how that works?
Yeah. So reading Monster Matador makes you smarter, basically.
Dude,
is what I'm saying.
You are going to get a high school or a college equivalent diploma reading this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're short, if you're in college or grad school, you're short on credits, Monster Matador Kickstarter will get you. I'll get you a couple
Hey,
credits.
I think right there, speaking of Kickstarter, that's the perfect segue. Let's go ahead and
Yeah,
check
right.
out Volume 1 and see what everyone's campaigning for. So we are looking at Monster Matador Volume 1, a 180-page collection featuring the first 2 Monster Matador adventures, a brand new bonus story, and a study guide. Currently at $3,351 of a $9,000 goal with 80 backers and 17 days left to go. Here is the link for everyone that is watching. Feel free to back this. If you're unable to, a simple retweet on, Facebook or Twitter goes a long way, and word of mouth is 100% free. Let's go ahead and check out this video.
Welcome to the Monster Matador Volume 1 Kickstarter. If you've already backed Monster Matador, you know the drill. If you're new to the book, thanks for checking us out. Monster Matador is a post-apocalyptic kaiju throwdown about a matador who fights monsters to make a better world for his daughter. I'm Stephen Prince, the creator and writer of Monster Matador. The book is drawn by Ringo Award-nominated Fabio Alves and colored by Alex Zieff. Volume 1 is a
Was that a zombie like chimpanzee or
that
monkey?
Collects the hit miniseries Tangle the Matadors,
Yeah, that was
our
brutal.
explosive graphic novella
Yeah, yeah.
Apocalypse, plus a bonus story exclusive to this collection, and it also includes a study guide from Dr. Teresa Rojas. Now, I promise there aren't going to be any tests, but you might just learn something. Now, how about we check out the rewards? You'll be able to choose from 3 versions of the book: digital, softcover, or hardcover. There will also be a limited edition hardcover with a bookplate signed by me, Fabio Alves, and Alex Zieff, and a remark hardcover with a Fabio Alves sketch. You'll also be able to catch up on single issues and variants you may have missed. And keep an eye out for stretch goals and a few surprises. Now, the book is pretty much done. The study guide is in progress, and the bookplates are making their way around the world to get signed. Other than that, we're completely finished. So we hope to get the book to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this and for checking out Monster Matador.
I really the blank cover where it's him like with the cape and the monster walking on it. I thought that was so visually striking.
Yeah, that was a cool cover. Fabio did a great job with that, and the colors were really interesting.
So right here is a look at the cover. This is gorgeous. So what monster is he like staring in the mouth of? Like, who is this? Like a certain kaiju in particular?
No, Fabio had done. I'm sitting on a lot of art that I haven't even released yet, and this is one of them. Fabio had done this. He just did this on his own, and I paid him for it to use it as a cover at some point. But I just thought it was so cool, right? Like,
yeah. Fearless, man. It really amplifies that fearless look on his face.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, it was just this. It just like really sums up everything. And I didn't really have a place to use it yet because it's not obviously not tied into the specific monsters that we used in those other books. But I thought for the trade that it was just nice. And Alex did like a really cool. Felt like the kind of like fire and the heat behind him just felt really cool. So yeah, it's fun.
And we already have broke down a little bit of the pitch. Like I said, if you guys are interested, you can check out the link to kind of get a little bit more in depth with this description. But let's check out some of these interiors. I love the art in this. The art is beautiful. The art is so gorgeous as well. So this was the big villain of the Tangle of the Matadors, correct?
Yeah, this is Tangle of the Matadors.
Yeah.
And this is, you see all her little children around her and stuff like that.
And then we have Afropocalypse as well. And I love this. Like you said, the ragtag team. This is awesome.
Yeah. This was based on the cast photo of Predator. So there's a similar photo with like Arnold and all those guys that are kind of posed like this. But so I thought it would be fun to do something.
And here are some of the interiors from that as well. I love the art for this as well. Did you guys kind of go for like a different style or anything?
Yeah, he did. He kind of took a different approach to it. It's got a little bit more of a Bill Sienkiewicz feel to it, and it really fit the mood of the story too. I think it really kind of, I mean, just I love this panel that you're the woman looking up. It's one of my favorite panels in the book. So I mean, it's such a basic thing, but just like just the colors and you really feel like the heat of the jungle on her and everything. It's just it's really cool.
We have go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll just say we have Lee Newman over on YouTube stopping in to say this looks really great, really unique concept. Yeah, I love it as well. It's just as awesome as it sounds. We were talking about that earlier. It's the title is not misleading one bit.
Right. Yeah. I promise you, there are monsters in the book in every issue.
And then here's some interiors from that bonus story we were talking about as well.
Yeah. So this is Is
this a new character that's new to the bonus story, or was he in the previous issues?
He was in Afropocalypse, and he's at the end of Tango. Did I not send you those issues?
Yeah, you might have. I now I get into the habit of like going to the bookshelf. I totally forgot.
I know. Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah, he's so he's a character that was in there. So there was originally, I kind of like setting up stories like kind of that I'll come back to. So there's a story that takes place between Tango the Matadors and Afropocalypse, where when we see them again in Afropocalypse, he's got an eye patch and his arm is messed up, and basically they ran into pirates and a giant sea monster in between.
I just love how like it's going from one direction to the next. Like it sounds like such an intense adventure.
Yeah, so there's a whole other story that we'll tell at some point. But I kind of like the idea, because we're doing this series of mini-series, I kind of like the idea of kind of like, some stuff, it's kind of cool also to leave up to the reader's imagination, because in a way it kind of builds up just how much of a badass he is. That, he gets off the helicopter and he meets his boss and he's like, yeah, we ran into some pirates and a sea monster, and oh, by the way, yeah, the Matador, he's just as badass as everyone says he is, and then he comes off the helicopter, and and because you didn't see that story, you're just like, whoa, that must be, you know what I mean? It just adds this other layer to him. So, and I love playing around like that, because it does also kind of, it gives you the sense of this larger world out there, that there's all these things going on and there's all these places that the book can go. So even though like it's a quote unquote monster book, one of the things like I specifically want to avoid is that it becomes a kind of monster of the week book. Yeah. It's never going to be a book where, okay, he comes to town, he meets a monster, he goes to the next town, he meets him. You know what I mean? That gets boring. So we definitely like to change it up a bit, and monsters don't always have to be kaiju. So like for instance, in the next storyline, he's fighting kaiju, but he's also going to be fighting a cartel. Ooh. So you know what I mean? So, and all that, and the cartel has kind of figured out a way to kind of like get some monsters under their control. So that adds another layer. You know what I mean? So it kind of like,
gonna have to fight like, Gus from Breaking Bad.
You'll see, no, there's a whole. It's cool. I don't want to ruin it, but I mean, but the point being is that, you're always gonna be kept on your toes, right? Like I really do kind of make a point of trying to make each book have its own kind of distinct feel and personality. He'll always be fighting monsters because that's what he does, but it's always going to have a twist. It's never, you're never going to get the same thing, twice or whatever.
No, absolutely. So let's go ahead and look at some of these rewards as well. These are all these images are going to be shown in the rewards here, is correct?
Yeah. They're all there. So this is so we've got the cool part about this one. We've got there's original art. So Fabio's done some sketches on a 5x7 book plate, and he signed them. I've signed it, and there's I think 10 or 12 of them that are available. I literally just got them the other day from Brazil. He just sent them to me. There's also going to be a signed and limited hardcover with a signed book plate. It's signed by me, by Fabio, and Alex.
And you guys live across the world, right?
Yeah, I'm here in the States. I'm in LA. Fabio's in Brazil, and Alex is in Mexico.
So this is like the only way you can get all three, right?
This is the only way you can get all three. This is the first time we've done it, and it's not something we're gonna do it like. It just gets complicated, and So and mail. Last year, like mail to and from Brazil was really kind of tricky for some reason. This time around, it worked out pretty quickly. I actually got him back the other day, and the book plates went to. I sent them to Alex. When did I send them to her? I sent them to her on Friday. So those are kind of making their way around the world. So yeah, that's the first time we've done something like that, and that's really the only way you can get it. Tony Donnelly is one of my good friends. He did the Afropocalypse cover that looks like a movie poster. He did a variant cover for issue 2, and he did this awesome pinup, which is in issue 1. This is the original art, 11 by 17. One of the things about Monster Matador is that Fabio draws the book digitally. So there's no original art for the book. There's only a handful of pieces that are actually done on paper. 3 of them are Tony's pieces. This is one of them. And then Kyle Roberts did a variant cover, and I think there's 1 or 2 other of the variants that are pen and paper. But there's literally like 5 or 6 pieces of art that exist. And Fabio did one. We did a foil cover, and that was originally a sketch that he had done. We had done some sketches in past campaigns, and so that's the only published Fabio Monster Matador art that exists, and he has that in Brazil. So unless you can pry it from him. But yeah, it's cool. I have the Afropocalypse cover. That one's my favorite. So I'm not letting that one go. But this is, that piece of art is really cool, and it's 11 by 17.
Some add-ons right here of the variant covers too. So I really like these variant covers. This one especially is like really gorgeous with the colors.
Yeah, so you've got the foil. So that's a foil one, that first one. Fabio did these silhouettes. I've got another one that I haven't used that I kind of want to do a glow-in-the-dark cover for. So that one will come down the line. We've got our Beastie Boys homage.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looked familiar. It was like right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, check your head. The third one is incredible. It's from this artist, Carlos Diarmas. And he does these incredibly detailed pen and ink drawings. And we wound up printing that one in black and white. It's printed on sketch cover stock to give it a feel like it's actually original. It kind of has a different feel than all the other covers. And we didn't color. I didn't color it because it doesn't need it. It's just beautiful. And the colors just kind of. It didn't really work. We did some tests, but it wasn't really working, and it looks beautiful in black and white. So, and then that fourth cover is from Kyle Roberts. He's done a book called Blazing Blade of Frankenstein with Clay Adams that was on Kickstarter, and he's done a book called Electric Youth. This is the first piece of art that was done for Tango of the Matadors.
This is gorgeous,
I met Kyle I met him at Long Beach Comic-Con, and he's very influenced by Bernie Wrightson. So he's got this really kind of like horror style, and I asked him to do a cover. I gave him kind of like a design for the Volagante, and this is actually the first big drawing of the Volagante. I asked him to put kind of like this glowing skull in the middle, just to kind of like make it stand out a bit. And he just, it's an awesome cover. It's so cool.
No, that's awesome. And then the glow in the dark one too. So you were talking about is this the one that you were holding back, or is this a different one?
Oh no, this is something else. This is actually a print. This is a 9x12 print that glows in the dark. It's printed by
so
Nakatomi Nakatomi Print Labs. I did this because I love screen prints and I wanted one for myself.
Nothing wrong with that though, right?
Nothing wrong with that. So it's a limited run of 55, and we've got a few left. But yeah, it's fun. It's a nice. It's the quality of it is really good. If you know Nakatomi, they're kind of like if you're familiar with Mondo or Bottleneck Gallery, it's that like level of quality paper and screen printing. So.
And then we also have a black and white edition of Afro Apocalypse as well.
Yeah, we did. So I did this as a test because Fabio's art was just so cool, and you can kind of see it maybe a little more up front, but we did a black and white edition, and let's see, there's one page that is really cool. I mean, all the pages are really cool, but there's one that.
Yeah, but that is gorgeous.
Yeah, it just came out so good in black and white, like. So we did a limited, just like run of 20 copies. A few people wanted it. Few people were interested in the last campaign. So we just did like I said, we did 20 copies. It's very, very limited. But if you like horror, if you like black and white, if you like that aesthetic, it's a really cool.
It adds a whole nother level to it too, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's cool. It's got a really cool feel to it. Yeah.
So let's go over the rewards real quick, and then we will wrap up our look at the Kickstarter. Yeah. So for $20, you get the digital collection. At $30, you're gonna get the trade paperback, soft cover.
And then 35. You want me to do it, or you want to do?
I could do it. I thought you were trying to say something, so I was trying to give you the space. I didn't mean to like overstep you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Yeah, go for it. I'll jump in if there's anything.
All right. So at 35, we have the Virgin cover trade paperback. So that's going to be the blank one, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's without the logos or anything like that.
And then at 50, we have
the art. Yeah.
At 50, we have the hardcover collection, and then all of these are also going to include the PDF as well as a thanks in the PDF. And then here we come up to the limited edition tier. So at 60, we have the signed hardcover, and then at 80, we have the sketched. So that's going to be the blank where your artist is going to draw, and that'll be one of the very first times he's done it traditionally like that, right?
Yeah, we've had some sketches in the last campaign, and this will be a book plate in the book. You know what? If you give me 1 second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll be right back. And should I stop the cam? And yeah, okay.
So everyone watching, once again, here is the link to back this project. If you're unable to back it, a simple retweet on Twitter or Facebook goes a long way. This might not be something that you would read, but you might have a friend or family member who's going to love this. And there's nothing better than matadors fighting huge kaiju monsters. Really love this foil cover too. This thing's gorgeous.
All right, I don't know where I put them. So.
No, you're good. No worries at all. We are looking.
I put them in a safe place. But,
oh yeah, were you gonna get one of the sketches?
Yeah, I was gonna get one of them. I think I put them in a box under the couch because I'm not using them. So it's kind of keep them away from the kids, So. Yeah.
So at 75, we have the beginning of our Double Trouble tier. So you're gonna get the regular. So can you give us a little bit about what this regular tier is?
Yeah, the regular it's the regular copy of the PDF and the hardcover, and then the deluxe will be the signed versions.
Okay. And then we have the retailer at 90, which is going to be 6 copies. And then the Monster Matador. Yep. So this looks like one hell of a tier. Give us a breakdown about this one.
It's everything. It's all the variant covers. I gotta see what else I've got in there. It's a movie poster in there. The 9x12 glow in the dark print is in there. You get a Tony Donnelly sketch card. So it's original art, prints, and all the comics. So it's basically just a total catch up to everything tier.
And then at 450, we have original art by Donnelly as well. So this is going to be a 11x17 Monster Matador pinup. And then you're also going to get, it looks like the other tiers as well included with it, right?
Yeah, you get the signed cut and hardcover that's signed by all of us. You get the virgin cover trade paperback. You get a signed copy of his variant cover for Tango the Matadors #2, signed by me and Tony. You get a couple prints, and it doesn't say sketch card, but I'll throw a sketch card in there.
Okay. Hey. And then stretch goals are to be announced still. Do you have anything in mind, or is that still kind of being worked out?
Yeah. No, we've got a bunch. I mean, we've not a bunch, but I have stuff in mind. There will be like, we can probably do like a metallic bookmark, and for the first one, and then extra pages.
Okay.
We'll boost the book up to 200, and then we have some other stuff if we get further than that. And if you mention Cody, and you do a physical reward, I will throw in one of these cards. These are like premium kind of velvet cards. So this is a pinup that I drew for the first issue of the book, and you can see kind of how thick they are. And what's cool about these is I will draw a sketch on the back.
That's so cool.
Usually when you back the book, I will respond. I will say thank you within probably around 24 hours or so. And all you have to do is write back and say, hey, I heard about this on Cody's show, and you will get one of these. And
Thank you, dude. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And then here's a look at the creative team as well. We've already kind of given them a shout out earlier. Is this a cat? You got a cat proofreading for you?
Yeah. Who knew, right? Cats are, I don't get along with them, but they seem to be pretty good at proofreading because we don't have any spelling mistakes.
No, I know. I got mine snoozing on the couch. He was trying to meow at me to come lay down too. I'm like, whoa, man. I got an interview. I'm gonna be late for it. Don't do this to me.
I had the proof laying out, and this cat just looking at it. It was like, hey, this is misspelled. I was like, all right, I'll give you credit.
So this wraps up the Kickstarter. Let's go ahead and return back to our normal format. Give me 1 second. So real quick, after taking a look at the Kickstarter, for anyone who might be on the fence about backing, what would you like to say to them directly?
Get off the fence. No, this is truly a fun book. People who read it love it. It's not what you expect it to be, but it is about a matador fighting monsters, and it's a book that has a lot of heart and a lot of fun and a lot of action, and you will enjoy it. So.
No, that is awesome. I had a blast reading it too. I vouch behind it too. I cannot wait. I'm gonna get my backing in later today. I've been waiting on my bank card. I had a fraudulent charge, and the thing is, it locked my card up. I don't know why they can't just block that. They have to give you a whole new card, but then that takes 2 weeks to get. And everybody launched their Kickstarter within the last 2 weeks. It's been just insane.
Man, I launched it earlier thinking I was going to beat the kind of October rush, but it seems like everyone had the same idea, because literally the next week, I'm like, wait a minute. And they're all
this is my idea.
This is my idea. You try to get a head start, but there's a lot of great books out there. We're also going to be doing a cross promotion with Rob Moltari, who does Snowpaw, which is a spin-off of his Nightwolf book. Okay. So we're going to announce cross promotion with him, where if you back both campaigns, you'll get something. So
that's going to be really cool.
It's a print. You'll get a print. a Snowpaw Monster Matador print that was drawn by his Snowpaw artist, Carlos Herrera.
No, that is so awesome. So stay tuned for that, guys. Once again, here is the link. Like I said, if you can't back it, just share it. Put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it anywhere you know people are reading comics.
Yep.
Because this is one they definitely don't want to miss. Steven, before we wrap things up, you've been on the show before, you know the drill. As much as this is a show where we really promote you and your book, it's always a nice platform to give advice to anyone who might be new to the industry or maybe just struggling. So with that being said, for anyone who is having trouble, let me change it up because I probably asked you this question before. So for anyone who's having trouble getting together a creative team, like, you know, when you first started this, you did it yourself and then you built that creative team afterwards. So for anyone who's struggling just doing that part, what would be something you would offer them as a piece of advice?
Talk to other creators. There are a lot of great creator groups. If you don't, a couple of things. One, on Facebook, there's a group called Connecting Writers and Artists, comic book writers and artists. So if you're looking for writers, artists, whatever, you can post there and you'll get a million comments with people showing their portfolios and things like that. The other thing, if you have a local comic book store, see if there are any creators around, and you know, try and start a club. A lot of where I met creators was at comic book stores. The Meltdown Comics here in California, which no longer exists, but there was a bunch of us met there taking. Jim Higgins ran classes, making comic book classes. A bunch of us met there. The Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach has a group called the Sketchy Bugs, which is a group of creators. One of the things that you will find in the indie scene is that we lift each other up, and we are happy to talk. We are happy to help. You know, reach out. I mean, even I've had people reach out. They're doing a Kickstarter. They back the Kickstarter. They're like, "Hey, I'm doing a book. I'm thinking about doing a Kickstarter. What do I do? How do I find an artist?" One of the scariest things is finding an artist or colorist, especially a lot of times now because of the internet, because of the ease of it. You know, I work with Fabio in Brazil. I work with Alex in Mexico. It's, you know, one of the questions is, how do I know that I'm actually going to get the work? 99% of the people are not out there to screw you. You know, most people doing this stuff have credits. Ask around. Like I said, most creators are happy to help. They're happy to answer. Join those groups. Most of them are open and public, and just reach out to people on Twitter, anything. I mean, you know, we live in a time where literally you have access to just about anybody, and just about anybody. It's so easy, and I will say the independent comic scene has been it's full of just a lot of great creators. We are competitive in the sense that you know, we do what we do, but like my books don't compete with my friends' books, you know, like I lift my friends up, they lift me up. I don't, you know, I'm happy to recommend other people's books because, like you say, Monster Matador might not be the book for you, but you know, my friend Carla Nappi, her book Duplicate might be the book for you, or Snowpaw might be the book for you, or whatever. And it's a circle, you know. Don't think of it like a competition. Like, you know, if I suggest someone else's book, they're not going to get mine. You know what I mean? Because that's not what it's about. Ultimately, you'll find your audience. Your audience will find you, but you're gonna do it with a lot of help from people like Cody, from your fellow creators. You know, I mean, you just don't do this alone. It's just impossible. So
it's true.
My advice, my long-winded advice, is just, you know, the hardest thing for most creators is most of us are introverts. Most of us don't really want to deal with people most of the time. And, you know, we tend to, because that's, you know, we're home alone and we're writing and we're drawing and we're shy, but you do have to kind of get over that hump. And once you do, it'll make your life a lot easier. And anytime you are going to work with someone, whether they're your friend, whether they live in the United States or they live anywhere across the world, I will tell you right now, it is very important to lay down, you know, kind of like the rules of the land, meaning have a contract, have something in writing about what the expectations are. It will make your life go a lot easier. And, you know, don't pay everything up front. Anyone that tells you they want all the money up front, just walk away.
Yeah.
No, I mean, seriously, that's, you know, no one should, you know, those are just little things. No one should be asking you for money up front. But figure out a payment plan, figure out what works best, you know. I don't know. That's it.
Yeah, biggest part of it is just closed mouth.
Yeah.
You know, they don't get fed. You have to open, and you have to reach out, and you have to make that. And it might stretch your comfort zone, but all good things worth having require that, right? They require you to push that just a little bit.
Exactly. That's what makes it worth it. You know, one of the things that I always say, you know, you can dream all you want, right? But you have to make those dreams reality, and that's ultimately on you, right? You have to take that step. And I know that's the hardest thing, because I meet creators all the time at signings, at conventions, people who want to do a book, who are interested in doing a book, and every single time I tell them, here's my email me, feel free to, you know what I mean? Just don't. And 99% of the time they don't. And I see them again and they're still kind of thinking about doing their book. So it really is. It's like, it's such an important first step. And once you take it, it's like anything. It's like, you know, going in the water for the first time or whatever. You realize like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. I can do this, you know? So
dip your toes in, guys. Dip your toes in. You heard it here first.
Dip your toes in, yeah.
It's an awesome Monday. Monday's meant for motivation, so get to writing. And if you're unsure about it, just reach out and talk to someone. Yeah. With that being said, it is time for us to wrap up. Steven, thank you so much for coming back onto the show. It's been a pleasure, you know, catching up with you and breaking down more of Monster Matador. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And everyone watching, once again, here is the link. Be sure to check it out. I hope you have an awesome Monday as well. But most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.